Damian Lee re-signing with the Suns today, 1-year deal, veteran minimum contract. Mitch, if you would, and I'm springing this on you last minute, go through the Mike Budenholzer sound from when he was hired and see if you can find me a sound bite that kind of highlights how much he wants his guys to shoot the three. Because that's one thing that was very, very clear when Budenholzer got the job, and something, Scott, that I know that you could speak to as well. Mike Budenholzer's teams, and it's somewhere in my long bunch of notes, I've got a stat that backs this up. His teams, whether he was in Atlanta or Milwaukee, he likes to jack threes up. He wants his team to jack threes up. But the Suns were more of a mid-range team. The Suns almost had to be coaxed into taking threes this year,
what
right?
do you call them, the midi committee?
The midi committee. Or what is it? K-Ray always calls them the mid-range mafia, the mid mafia, right? Like, yeah, that's what K-Ray calls them on the TV. Yeah, they because they're good at it. They're really, really good at it. And it's obvious that one of Coach Bud's kind of tasks in front of him is to take a team filled with really great shooters and convince them, you know what? It makes more sense mathematically for you to take more threes. I know you probably don't like this style. In fact, I know you don't like this style of basketball, right? Like the jacking up the threes.
I don't. No.
But it is the way of the world.
It's where we're going here. That's what's happening.
It's the way of today's NBA.
This is the way.
Thanks, Mitch.
This is the way.
It is. It's the way. And so the point with them bringing Damian Lee back is it's twofold. Number one, they lost Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon, I think, took on average about 5 3-pointers per game last year. Someone's got to fill that void, right? Someone's got to take that spot. Damian Lee might be the guy to do it. Number two, Damian Lee was hurt last year, but the year before shot about 44% from three. And then number three, and I found this fascinating, and I sprung this on you guys during our pre-show prep because I think it leads to really good conversation. And now I'm scrolling down for it. I should have been better prepared for this. I thought, here it is, right here. This comes from @AZ Sports Zone. The highest three-point percentage in the history of the Suns. Now, this is for your career. For your career as a Phoenix Sun. Did you know 4 of the 6 highest career three-point shooters in the history of the Suns? I'm sure there's a minimum in there somewhere.
Sure, got to be. I think it was 1 for 2, by the way.
Yo, were you?
Maybe.
With the Suns or for your career?
With the Suns.
Really?
Yeah, I got up.
So you're actually number.
I think I'm in there.
You're number 1 on this list.
I'm pretty sure there's a minimum.
you're number 1 on this list.
I didn't make the minimum.
Highest three-point percentage in Suns history. 4 of the top 6 in the history of the organization are on the roster right now today.
Gotta love that, right? So, do I love the fact that teams jack up 33s and a half? No. But that's what's going on right now. So, and if you look at, and I just pulled up I just thought, who made the most threes last year, right? So I pulled up the list. You want to take a gander or guess at who might be on the...
We're talking about total made threes
from
for the Phoenix
23,
Suns?
24. No, for a team. 23-24, the list of the most made threes by teams.
Okay, Boston Celtics got to be near the top of the list.
Number 1.
Okay.
Won the World Championship last year. Thanks, Splash Brothers.
Okay, thank you. The Warriors are going to be at the top, near the top of the list. All right, let me
number 2.
Let me try to get this one.
Now try to get the third one.
Hold on, let me
try to shock you.
Let me think this one. I'm gonna say it's on the tip of my tongue.
Think about it. I'm gonna give the Celtics 1,351, Warriors 1,211, and the third place team with 1,197 is
Oklahoma City.
No.
Who?
Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
So 2 of the top 3 teams were in the NBA Finals from a year ago. I don't think that's a coincidence.
No.
So the Suns, if they got weapons behind the arc, they should use them.
Grayson Allen, number 1. Now, granted, it's just in one season, but Grayson Allen, number 1 all time. Damian Lee, number 2 all time. Bradley Beal, number 4 all time. Kevin Durant, number 5 all time. Again, obviously with a limitation of a minimum that you had to hit. Steve Nash was number 3. Your guy Raja Bell was number 6. That's the all-time highest three-point percentage in Phoenix Suns history. So now, if you're Coach Bud, and he said this during his intro press conference, you better believe shooting threes is going to be a focus.
There's no doubt that these guys will know. I think threes are a part of it, but we're going to do it from day one. We're going to do it starting in the gym, probably on Monday, training camp, all throughout the summer. But the whole team, it's going to be important. But including Brad, all those guys, they're incredible players. I just want to add to what they do. That's my mentality, is to push them and to make them their best selves, and for us to have our best team.
Yeah, somewhere in here, I've got a screenshot of Coach Budenholzer over his career, where if you look at like 3-point attempts for teams that he's coached, like his teams are in the, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I think I'm close. His teams have been in the top 6 or 7 every year but one.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too, going back to that list. And I know he did not coach this team last year, but the mentality was still there from 2 years ago. The Milwaukee Bucks were number 5 on that list. So he had shooters, and they continued to do the same thing, even though that he was not coaching them last year.
So let me ask you this, then, as a guy who used to play the game. Is it, when you've got 3 players who excel at the mid-range shooting the way Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal do, and you don't, there's that whole idea of teaching an old dog new tricks or taking a guy out of his comfort zone, is it harder than you'd think it would be to try to convince those guys to alter their game a little bit and become more willing 3-point shooters? Because it seemed like Frank Vogel wanted it last year, talked about it all the time, and could just never, ever convince his guys that was their game. How can Budenholzer be any different than Vogel?
I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a media to try to get your stroke right, trying to get yourself to the foul line. I think those all things that Booker and Durant do exceptionally well. I think they just have to start opportunities to get guys open looks from behind the arc are important. I think Coach Vogel didn't have a system in place to get Booker, Durant, and Beal cleaner looks from behind the arc. So they just started saying, you want me to shoot more threes? It almost seemed like their shot selection from behind the arc were almost like a big, can you say F you to him on the air? Like don't say it, say it. But it just seemed like they just said, well, you want me to do this, then I'll do it, but you're not getting in a good position to do it. So I want to say they were shooting hook shots out there from behind the arc, but some of the shot selection left you scratching your head, like, don't just sling something up there for the sake of slinging up a three.
There was one game in particular, I remember it like it was yesterday. There was a game near the end of the season against the LA Clippers where they just came out and every other shot was a 3-pointer, and it almost seemed like it was out of spite. It almost felt like it was exactly how you describe it. Oh, you want us to take more threes? Okay, here you go. Mm-hmm. Hey, be careful what you wish for. Watch this.
Yeah,
watch
and it
this,
was like 50-55 threes, but I don't remember what the percentage was, but you can't just sling them up there hoping that they're going to go in if you got a guy, I don't say draped on you, but with a hand in your face.
Yeah, okay. I was listening to you and I found it.
Okay.
And it's exactly what I thought. So, but Mike Budenholzer, in 3-point attempts, his teams that he's coached, that he's been the head coach of, this was a Gerald Bourguet tweet from back on May 17th. His teams have been 2nd, 7th, 6th, 16th, 7th, 2nd, 4th, 8th, 5th, and 4th.
Okay,
so just
hanging around that top 7.
Taking around that, the top 6, top 7. Yeah. He's got the shooters to do it. Does he have the willing? And here's where I think hopefully you're right about Bud. That Bud, given that he comes from an offensive background, will be able to make his case to them. Here's why you should be doing it. Here's why you're going to be better at it. Because he's just got a better way of coaching offense than Frank Vogel did, And
I'm going to put you in a good spot so you look good taking and making them.
I hope it works. I am really worried. I'm a little worried. Maybe not really worried. I am a little worried about whether Booker and Beal and Kevin Durant will willingly change their games to try to take more 3-point shots because it's better for them to do it. I do wonder about that.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.